Diddy and Cassie's private and explicit text messages have been exposed, and it's shedding a light into their toxic relationship. The courtroom drama surrounding Sean Diddy Combs is heating up, and now an abundance of text messages between the two has entered the spotlight. Sean Diddy Combs and Cassandra Cassie Ventura's private and very explicit text messages have been publicly released after many of them were read aloud during the Bad Boy Records founders trial earlier in the week. And while a lot of the exchanges shared in the 162 pages of legal documents appear harmless, there are others that are more, well, very bad, for lack of better words. In one of the text messages, Ventura admitted that there were a lot of men and a lot of partying at an unidentified gathering. In less shocking messages, Ventura could be seen accusing Combs of treating her like a side piece, and Combs telling Ventura to reach out after she got herself together. Of course, a lot of these text messages were revealed during proceedings over the last several days when, lawyers for Combs tried refuting allegations of, attacks and depict Ventura as basically a consenting participant, in his alleged freak-offs. Now, one message in particular, which was sent back in 2017, showed Cassie telling Combs that she was too excited about one of their upcoming freak-offs. She also messaged Combs about forgetting an iPad, which she testified they actually used to record the intimate marathons. Now, Combs even texted Cassie to have fun, impress me, when she was on her way to an adult shop to get supplies for their freak-off. Now, during the pregnant singer's 4 grueling days on the stand, Combs' attorney Anna Esteva asked the singer to read some of the texts she sent the rapper during their relationship, which took place from 2007 to 2018. A text Ventura wrote to Combs on August 7, 2009 read, "I can't wait to stare at some big ... I'm not going to say the rest. This is NSFW language here, but you get the point. Another in which Ventura graphically described what she couldn't wait, for her then boyfriend to do to her, was so disturbing that the singer asked the judge for a break. Now, in a 2012 exchange, Combs told Cassie, "You need to go to the doctor." She replied, "Yeah, we did a lot of partying." Now, later that year, she texted the rapper, "I miss you. I miss that ... I miss our love sessions in the afternoon. I love these freak-offs." Now, after Ventura finally completed her testimony, during which she said that she participated in the freak-offs to please Combs and avoid his anger, her husband, Alex Fine, released a very powerful statement. Fine, who, was in court supporting his wife all week, said in his statement read by attorney Douglas Wigdor on Friday, "Over the past 5 days, the whole world has gotten to witness the strength and bravery of my wife freeing herself of her past. I have felt so many things sitting here. I have felt tremendous pride and overwhelming love for Cass." Fine then called out Combs and basically all of those who helped him along the way. He added, "Please know this, you did not break her spirit, nor her smile that lights up every room."
There is a chance that pop sensation Jennifer Lopez might be called to testify amid the ongoing court proceedings centered around the many misdeeds of disgraced rapper Sean Diddy Combs. The pair used to date and were even arrested together over 20 years ago, and that is now coming back to haunt the Jenny from the Block singer. Jennifer Lopez's past relationship with Sean Diddy Combs has come under renewed scrutiny as Diddy faces federal intimate transportation of people and fraudulent business dealings charges. The couple's highly publicized romance from 1999 to 2001 ended amid legal turmoil, including a notorious 1999 nightclub incident in New York City, for which both were arrested, but Lopez was quickly cleared of any wrongdoing. Diddy did have to go to court at the time, but was also cleared in the end. Now, with Diddy's current legal troubles dominating headlines, speculation has grown about whether Lopez would be called to testify in his ongoing trial. Legal experts and media sources suggest that Lopez could be summoned as a witness, primarily due to her presence during key events in Diddy's past, most notably that 1999 nightclub incident. While the current charges against Diddy involve allegations of non-consensual transportation of people and harm, many of which surfaced after his relationship with Lopez ended, her proximity to Diddy during earlier controversies has led to questions about what she may have witnessed or known about at the time. Reports indicate that the court is considering a broad list of potential witnesses, with Lopez's name potentially appearing due to her past association with Diddy and her presence at events now under renewed legal examination. Despite persistent questions from the media and the public, Lopez has remained notably silent regarding Diddy's legal issues. She has declined to comment during press events and has actively avoided questions about her ex-boyfriend, both in interviews and public appearances. Upon being asked about it directly by a fan while signing stuff, the singer was quick to depart the scene. Sources close to Lopez have described her as disgusted at Diddy's recent behavior, but emphasized that she views that chapter of her life as long closed. Lopez has also made it clear in past interviews that she does not consider herself a victim of Diddy and has not claimed to have knowledge of the alleged crimes for which he is now being prosecuted. As of now, there is no official confirmation that Lopez will be called to testify against Diddy. While her name is reportedly on a list of potential witnesses due to her past relationship and presence at significant events, she faces no allegations herself and has not been implicated in any of the crimes under investigation. Legal analysts note that unless new evidence emerges directly connecting her to the incidents in question, her testimony may not be deemed essential. Nonetheless, the ongoing trial and the intense public interest ensure that Lopez's association with Diddy remains a topic of speculation and media attention. While Jennifer Lopez could theoretically be called to testify due to her past with Diddy and her presence at certain events, there is currently no indication that she will ever be compelled to do so. She has maintained her distance from the scandal, and unless the court finds her testimony directly relevant, she is likely to remain on the periphery of Diddy's legal battles.
Diddy has spoken, and he's not saying much, but these 4 haunting words left the court puzzled. Sean Diddy Combs is speaking out amid his criminal trial. The rap mogul, who has pleaded not guilty to a slew of charges, verbally addressed those inside the New York City courtroom where he was being tried on May 20th. The 4 words he said was, "I love you all." He said that aloud as court adjourned for the day before adding under his breath, "Yeah, love." He went on to speak to a woman in the gallery, telling her in what appeared to be a reference to his 31-year-old son Justin Combs, saying, "Please let Justin know I'm thinking of him." But this was not Combs' first public declaration of love in his trial. As seen in courtroom sketches from his May 13th appearance, the 55-year-old made a heart gesture, kind of like this, with his hands as he was led to a seat at the defense table. While Combs has yet to take the stand, several notable figures from his past have already testified in the proceeding, including ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura. Now, in her testimony, Ventura said she participated in hundreds of parties known as freak-offs with hired, men at the instruction of Combs. Now, the singer said she would have to perform even when she was suffering from painful urinary tract infections, which are UTIs, now alleging that Combs threatened to release footage of her from these intimate encounters should she stop participating in them. She recounted, the experiences, saying, "I would get sores on my tongue from the freak-offs, from taking illegal substances and from other oral stuff, also from having my mouth on things where there was oil and Astroglide and lubricants, yada yada." Ventura ultimately left Combs in 2018 after more than a decade of them dating. Ventura testified saying, "It was always in the back of my mind that I would somehow be hurt by him. Sean is a really polarizing person. He was very charming. It was hard to decide in that moment when he was telling you what he wanted. I just didn't know what would happen." Now, Cassie Ventura's mom says she paid Sean Combs $20,000 after he threatened to release some tapes. Regina Ventura testified May 20th that in 2011, Combs had threatened to release explicit videos of her daughter Cassie Ventura after she began dating Kid Cudi, whose real name is Scott Mescudi. Now, Regina told the court, saying, "I was physically sick. I did not understand it. The tape threw me. He was trying to hurt my daughter. He wanted $20,000 because she was having a relationship with Scott Mescudi." Now, she alleged that she and her husband Roderick Ventura had taken a home equity loan to obtain the cash. She added, "That's the only way we could actually get the money." As for why Combs demanded the lump sum, well, she told the prosecution he was angry. He had spent money on her and she had been with another person. A millionaire asking a mother and a father to take out a loan to pay him $20K to not exploit their daughter and to feed his ego. Yes, there is indeed a very, very, very special place in hell for Diddy. Another weird turn is that Combs allegedly carried pills with Barack Obama's face on it, according to a former assistant. David James shared insight into Combs' travel bag during his testimony, including 25 to 30 pill bottles. He said that among the pills were some with former President Obama's face. He said there was various pills, but one was in the form of a former president's face, and the former assistant testified according to court transcripts obtained by NBC News, clarifying that it was indeed President Obama. Diddy is all types of weird. I truly hope he has the day and life he deserves.
The ongoing trial for Sean Diddy Combs has been difficult for everyone involved due to its sensitive and troubling material. It is not easy to hear, and some of Diddy's family members did feel the need to step out of the room as some particularly heavy details came to light. Sean Diddy Combs' twin daughters became the focus of public attention after they stepped out of the courtroom during their father's ongoing legal troubles. The twins reportedly left that courtroom in a state of upset following particularly distressing testimony related to the intimate, non-consensual transportation of individuals' allegations against their father. Witnesses described the girls as visibly upset, with one source alleging that they couldn't bear to hear anymore, and exited the courtroom accompanied by other family members. At the time of departure, a male escort was detailing his experience being hired to entertain Combs. The family did remain in the room when the video of Combs attacking Cassie in the hotel was played. This particular piece of evidence has been out for a while, and it did go viral online just a few months after the first allegations against Diddy came out. It played a large part in swaying public opinion of the rapper and making people believe that he was actually capable of everything that he was being accused of. The emotional moment came as the court heard graphic details about the allegations, which have put immense strain on the Combs family. According to reports, the twins had been present to support their father, but the intensity of the testimony proved overwhelming. Observers noted that the girls' reaction underscored the personal toll that the trial has taken on Diddy's family, who have largely stayed out of the spotlight until now. Despite the turmoil, Diddy's daughters and other children have attempted to maintain a sense of normalcy. Notably, the twins attended their high school prom amid the ongoing trial, sharing photos on social media that showed them smiling in formal attire. This juxtaposition, balancing milestone teenage experiences with the gravity of their father's legal battle, has drawn sympathy and attention from the public. Per the Daily Mail, sources close to the family have confirmed that all the stories about Diddy are hard to hear, especially to those related to him. Sources share that no one wants to hear things like that about someone, especially if they're your father. Sources say that the family is putting their trust in God for the time being and for justice to prevail. They also claim that the family is still very supportive of Diddy. Regarding his daughters, sources are claiming that they are standing by their father. They say that he was a good father to them, though they don't agree with what the man has done / is being accused of doing, and acknowledge that his alleged behavior is disgusting. However, they do still support him. It is clear that the disgraced rapper is grateful for his family's support, since he made a heart with hands towards them one day of the trial as he was headed in. The courtroom departure of Diddy's daughters highlights the emotional impact high-profile legal cases can have on the families involved, especially their children. As the trial continues, the Combs family remains under intense scrutiny, with the well-being of Diddy's children becoming a poignant aspect of the unfolding story. Once hailed as a music mogul and cultural icon, Diddy now finds himself at the center of explosive allegations, with new witnesses stepping forward to reveal what some are calling his evil secrets. As the trial unfolds in a Manhattan federal court, the testimonies of these witnesses are painting a disturbing portrait of power, manipulation, and alleged criminal activity. For decades, Diddy was synonymous with success. As the founder of Bad Boy Records, he launched the careers of countless artists and built an empire that spanned music, fashion, and entertainment. However, in recent years, allegations of intimate misconduct, fraudulent business dealings, and more have surfaced, culminating in a high-profile court case that has rocked the industry. The trial, which began earlier this month, has drawn intense media scrutiny. The prosecution alleges that Diddy used his influence to orchestrate a network of criminal activities, while the defense maintains his innocence, claiming that he is the victim of a targeted smear campaign. The most recent developments in the trial have come from a series of new witnesses, each bringing their own perspective and evidence to the courtroom. According to CTV News, the trial's latest session featured testimony from a makeup artist who had worked closely with Diddy and his entourage. This witness, whose identity is being protected for safety reasons, described a culture of fear and secrecy that permeated Diddy's inner circle. The makeup artist testified that she witnessed several incidents of harm and intimidation, including moments when Diddy allegedly threatened staff and associates to ensure their silence. There were things that happened behind closed doors that nobody was supposed to talk about, she told the court. The witness also corroborated earlier claims made by other accusers, suggesting a pattern of behavior that spanned years. Another bombshell came from rapper Kid Cudi, who took the stand just prior to the makeup artist. According to CNN's live coverage, Kid Cudi recounted a chilling incident in which Diddy allegedly lit his car on fire. As more witnesses came forward, a disturbing pattern has begun to emerge. Former employees and associates have described a toxic environment where Diddy allegedly ruled through fear and manipulation. Some have claimed that he used his wealth and status to silence accusers, offering large sums of money in exchange for non-disclosure agreements. The revelations coming out of the trial have sent shockwaves through the entertainment world. Many are now questioning how such behavior could have gone unchecked for so long, and whether others in positions of power may also be complicit. The trial has sparked a broader conversation about accountability and the need for systemic change within the music industry. Some artists and industry insiders have begun to distance themselves from Diddy, while others have called for patience and due process. Regardless of the outcome, it's clear that the trial has already altered the public's perception of one of hip-hop's most influential figures. As the trial continues, all eyes are on the witnesses who have yet to testify. Legal experts predict that more shocking revelations could emerge in the coming weeks, potentially leading to further charges or even new investigations.
Multiple witnesses in Sean Diddy Combs' sweeping federal SA crimes trial has testified, recalling years of his alleged harm and violence as prosecutors allege he operated a criminal empire from 2004 to 2024. The biggest testimony so far, however, has come from his former girlfriend of more than a decade. In the first week of testimony in Combs' federal SA trial in New York, Cassie, whose real name is Cassie Ventura, described over 4 days on the witness stand a tumultuous relationship with the music mogul that began in her early 20s and lasted on and off for over a decade. As the government's star witness, her responses gave a window into a world centered around paid intimate encounters lasting days and sometimes occurring weekly, known as freak-offs, that she said she was forced to endure under the threat of physical and psychological harm. Cassie said that she felt trapped and that, the freak-offs were so regular, she said they became a job. Much of what Ventura testified to was graphic, from, the intimate acts with male escorts to the violence, including the fights with Combs that left her covered in bruises, she said, if she attempted to refuse a freak-off. A very visibly pregnant Ventura also recounted how she said Combs SA'd her on her living room floor in 2018, which of course he has denied. Ventura said it was under the direction of Combs that she would use illegal substances and have mating with male courts, some found on Craigslist, and paid upward of $6,000. Meanwhile, she said Combs' security was around constantly to provide, supplies, including the illegal substances, wrappers, and baby oil. Now, hanging over their relationship, she said, was the fear that Combs might blackmail her with recorded videos of the acts. She said when she was hosting an event in Atlantic City, New Jersey in 2014, someone she was working with said they saw an explicit video of her. She quickly texted Combs and told jurors that any leaked footage would put her career in jeopardy and could ruin everything she worked for. A year prior to that incident, Ventura said she was mortified when she saw Combs watching a very explicit video of her while they flew home on a commercial flight after having attended the Cannes Film Festival in France. Now, she said he pulled up a freak-off video on his laptop that she thought was deleted. She said he was showing them with other people around, and she said, "You are embarrassing me. I was scared. I felt trapped. How do you get out of this situation?" But to fight off his rage, she said she then arranged a freak-off within hours of them landing. Otherwise, he said the videos would have been released. Now, former federal prosecutor for the District of New Jersey, who now practices criminal defense in New York, said Ventura's testimony has been key because if jurors find her to be credible, she helps the prosecution's case that alleges illegally transporting humans did occur by means of force, fraud, and coercion. He continued to say, if she was coerced by violence or threats of violence or blackmail materials into participating in the freak-offs over her objections, then the trial is over. Everything else, which will go on for weeks, will not matter if the jury accepts that she was a credible witness and they believe beyond a reasonable doubt that she was telling the truth when she said, "I didn't want to do these things. He knew I didn't want to do these things, and the only reason I did them was that I was afraid that he would beat me or that he would release the videos." He added that the way Combs' defense team painted him in their opening statements as, a very overly flawed individual prone to violence and jealousy in his relationships was quite striking. He said, "It's one of the strangest trials that we've seen because the prosecution and defense agree about so many of the facts. For everyone asking why Cassie didn't speak up and leave Diddy, ask yourself why you don't speak up when your nail tech does your nails wrong, or why you have trouble telling your friends and family no."
Jay-Z admits he is going to expose Diddy in court. Jay-Z would prioritize his own defense in the face of these allegations, and Jay-Z is willing to compromise his loyalty to Diddy. He also stated on the record that he is determined to avoid imprisonment at all costs. I wonder if this also includes lying about everything. Jay-Z was implicated in a civil lawsuit alleging he inappropriately assaulted a female minor alongside Combs in 2000 following the MTV Video Music Awards. Jay-Z's legal team has denied the allegations. The news has sparked renewed interest in his past relationship with Diddy, who was also named in the lawsuit. According to the accuser, she was a minor when she was invited to the after-party by a friend. She alleges that Jay-Z and Diddy then took her to a private room where the events took place. The woman also claims that they told her not to tell anyone about the incident. The anonymous accuser, identified only as Jane Doe, the federal lawsuit, originally instituted in October within the Southern District of New York, with Combs as a named defendant, underwent an amendment on Sunday to incorporate Carter as an additional defendant. Tony Busby, the Texas-based attorney who filed the lawsuit, declined to comment. Jay-Z issued a comprehensive statement Sunday evening, categorically dismissing the allegations as idiotic, and further accusing attorney Busby of engaging in unprofessional conduct. He said, "These allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. Would you not agree?" Legal counsel representing Mr. Combs characterized the lawsuits as shameless publicity stunts intended to coerce financial settlements from prominent individuals through the dissemination of fabricated allegations, a tactic they assert has also been employed against Mr. Combs. In response to the allegations, Jay-Z's lawyer Alex Spiro released a statement saying that the claims are false and defamatory. He also said that Jay-Z strongly denies any and all allegations of this matter. Diddy's lawyer Kevin Yorn also denied the allegations, saying that they are categorically false and malicious. He added that Diddy has never had any contact with this woman or anyone else without their consent. The woman's lawyer, Lisa Bloom, said that her client is ready to tell her story to the world. She also said that she is confident that the woman's allegations are true. Well, according to the lawsuit, she was given a beverage that caused her to experience dizziness, lightheadedness, and an overwhelming urge to rest. She subsequently retired to a separate room. Shortly thereafter, the suit alleges, Combs and Carter entered the room, with Combs exclaiming, "You are ready to party!" The lawsuit alleges that Jay-Z forcibly removed her clothes and took advantage of her while Jay-Z and an unnamed female celebrity observed, "Could this unnamed female celebrity be Jennifer Lopez? Or are we going to be totally shocked to find out Beyoncé might be involved in all of this as well? Beyoncé was friends with Diddy as well, so should we even be surprised?" The accuser is seeking an unspecified amount of monetary compensation and has initiated legal proceedings under the provisions of New York's Victims of Gender-Motivated Violence Protection Act. According to an insider, Jay-Z, who is married to Beyoncé, began to exhibit a degree of emotional detachment from Combs subsequent to the latter's arrest on charges of trafficking, racketeering, and transportation for the purpose of adult activities earlier in the year. However, a third source indicated that regardless of Jay-Z's motives, Jay-Z benefits from having another influential figure involved in challenging the allegations against him. The source stated, "Diddy appreciates that Jay-Z is contesting the same accusations leveled against him. Jay's success would significantly bolster Diddy's own defense. Jay-Z's legal battles could shift public and media attention away from Diddy's own case, providing him with some temporary respite. Diddy is currently awaiting trial in New York City jail. If convicted, he faces a sentence of anywhere from 15 years to life in prison, but it also depends how many different charges he gets and what evidence is brought up during the legal proceedings." Diddy and Jay-Z have been friends for decades, so it's hard to believe that Jay-Z doesn't know a lot of information about all of these claims, or if he actually participated in some of the activities with Diddy. Beyoncé will perform live on Netflix during the streaming service's first ever NFL Christmas game day. The question is, will Beyoncé still go through with this if Jay-Z is taken into custody and sitting in a prison cell right next to Diddy?
After months of invasive speculation, Justin Bieber has publicly addressed the widespread inquiries regarding his relationship with Sean Diddy Combs, following the latter's arrest and ongoing trial on serious intimacy trading and related charges. After months of rumors and resurfaced videos from Bieber's younger years, a spokesperson for Bieber issued a clear statement. Although Justin is not among Sean Combs' victims, there are individuals who were genuinely harmed by him. Shifting focus away from this reality detracts from the justice these victims rightfully deserve. The speculation started shortly after Combs was first accused of all of these negative behaviors, but it intensified after old videos of Bieber and Diddy, filmed when Bieber was not the age of majority, began circulating on social media. In one widely discussed clip from 2009, Diddy is seen telling a 15-year-old Bieber that he would be spending 48 hours with him, making cryptic comments about their activities, and referencing the secrecy of their plans. While these moments were once viewed as playful or as part of Bieber's rise in the music industry under the mentorship of successful and well-connected men like Diddy and Usher, they have since been re-examined in a more critical light given the current allegations against Diddy. One fan of Bieber's actually proved a while ago that Diddy and Bieber never actually did hang out for 48 hours or anything like that. Compiling a timeline of Bieber's life when the video was filmed based on the singer's clothing and appearances around that time, the Reddit user proved that at most, Justin likely only spent a few hours on Diddy's property with supervision before leaving for other superstar commitments and to see people his own age. Taking Justin's official statement, 2025, plus the Reddit user's timeline, it's clear that the short video with the disgraced rapper was simply promo for the young star and nothing more. Despite the rumors, multiple sources close to Bieber have emphasized that his interactions with Diddy were performative and that he was actually closer to Diddy's sons than to Diddy himself, which is a relief. These sources, as well as Bieber's official representatives, have firmly denied any harm or inappropriate conduct between Bieber and Diddy. Bieber's team has also revealed that Justin had taken a long break from Diddy when he believes most of this took place, and he had distanced himself from him. An insider claiming to be close to the star has suggested that Bieber is dealing with all this as best as he can, saying, "So many people who helped to make him who he is were very close to Diddy, and it has completely thrown him. Justin hasn't been responding on this since the home raids, and he's not going to." The Popstars team stressed the importance of not diverting attention from the real victims in Diddy's ongoing legal case, stating that focusing on unfounded speculation about Bieber undermines the pursuit of justice for those who have truly suffered. Diddy, meanwhile, continues to deny all charges against him and has pleaded not guilty. His legal team has described the prosecution as unjust, while Bieber has expressed his disgust at the allegations against the music mogul, but remains adamant that he was not one of the victims. As the trial unfolds, Bieber's statement aims to both clarify his own experience and highlight the need for focus on the genuine victims involved in the case.
By the time you're seeing this, yesterday was Thanksgiving, at least for all you fine viewers down in the US of A. Hope you had some quality family time and ate enough turkey to pass out for a week. Well, there's one person you probably wouldn't want to be passed out around, and that's Sean Combs. Now, I'm not sure if you've heard of this guy, but he is in jail, and Thanksgiving was not a very fun time for old Puff Daddy. Diddy, who's facing serious charges related to trafficking, racketeering, and other SA cases, just keeps getting denied bail. At the time of this recording, a judge has denied him bail for a third time. His lawyers wanted a $50 million bail package. They also offered house arrest, and they said that he'd have 24-hour security monitoring, but prosecutors just weren't having it, saying that no conditions could prevent him from obstructing justice. They're having trouble keeping him from obstructing justice while behind bars, so keeping him at home probably wouldn't be any better. But more on that in a bit. Let's talk about what Diddy ate on Thanksgiving, because I'm sure everyone wants to know. Diddy spent Thanksgiving behind bars. Thanksgiving, more like no thanks giving. Anyway, being in jail means strict rules and regulations, which of course includes the nasty food you gotta eat. Thanksgiving was no different. For this holiday, Diddy got the usual prison meal lineup. His breakfast was pretty basic: fruit, cereal, some sort of pastry, and skim milk. For lunch, he had turkey roast, mashed potatoes, mixed vegetables, cranberry sauce, turkey gravy, dinner rolls, and holiday pies. Wait a minute, that sounds a lot like Thanksgiving to me. All it's missing is the stuffing. Considering Diddy's crimes though, I guess it's fitting that was left out. He's already done plenty of stuffing himself, and look where it got him. Instead, the best part of the meal was replaced with hot and sour tofu. There we go. That's more like it. That'll ruin any good meal. Tofu. Ugh. Sorry for the tofu lovers in the audience, all two of you. Now keep in mind, the turkey dinner was actually lunch. For actual dinner, it was a simple meal of a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, potato chips, whole wheat bread, and a fruit drink. A PB&J sandwich plus an extra side of bread. I've never heard of anything like that in my life. Just imagine someone handing you a sandwich and they're like, oh, by the way, check this out. You got a side of bread with that as well. A meal of bread with spread and then more bread. I never want to go to jail. I think that meal has just put me off for good. I will never attend one of Diddy's freak-offs ever again. These are very specific rules that he needs to adhere to when it comes to visitors as well. While he waits his trial, he's being held at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. He's still allowed to have visitors, but there are some pretty strict rules that they have to follow. Diddy's visitation privileges are limited to just 1 hour per week for approved social visits. The visits happen during a set time slot, and he can only have one visitor at a time. The visit starts when Diddy enters the room. Once the time is up, it's over. Visitors are not allowed to use the same restroom as Diddy, for obvious reasons. Personal items like phones, wallets, keys, and watches have to be stored in a locker in the lobby. None of that can make its way into the visiting room. There are also very specific rules about what visitors can wear. Anything provocative is strictly off limits. Not sure where they draw the line here, but if it were up to me, everyone would have to dress in full librarian or nun regalia. Just can't have Diddy getting all frisky in there, right? Visitors are also not allowed to wear open-toed shoes or shirts with holes in them, which sucks because I wanted to go visit Diddy and I had my favorite flip-flops and my hole-ridden t-shirt laid out that the moths got at. Who wears shirts with holes in them? I know people sometimes wear like jeans, ripped up jeans, that kind of looks cool, but a shirt with holes, that's never been done. Also, sweatpants, hoodies, hats, scarves, sunglasses, and sleeveless clothes are also prohibited. I think I still said sleeveless wrong. And sleeveless clothes are also prohibited. Even military uniforms aren't allowed unless visitors are wearing official ID. Now, it comes to physical contact, Diddy's favorite pastime. Diddy is allowed a brief hug and a quick peck at the beginning and end of each visit. No oils or lotions or creams involved. Visitors also are not allowed to bring Diddy any gifts, money, parcels during these visits. If a visitor or Diddy himself leaves the visiting room at any point, they're not allowed to come back in unless they get special permission. Diddy is being held in the special housing unit at the MDC, which is designed to provide an extra level of security, according to his lawyer. So Combs just recently broke some rules in the slammer, though. Behind what appeared to be this simple family celebration, prosecutors say that he was running a much more calculated operation. Now, he's being accused of trying to manipulate the justice system from behind bars. Prosecutors claim that Diddy used his family's birthday video, which went viral in early November, to kind of sway public opinion and potentially influence a jury. And you know what? It seems like it's worked for some gullible dummies out there. The comment section of this birthday video on TikTok, like, yikes. People see family and they're just automatically like, oh, well, it can't be that bad, right? I mean, there's comments like, happy birthday, Diddy. God will turn it all around for you. And this next confusing comment, everyone makes mistakes. I pray that he get the chance like anyone else would have gone. Now, aside from the incomprehensible butchering of the English language in that second comment, I mean, seriously, everyone makes mistakes? Do you really call what Diddy's been getting up to for like decades a mistake? A mistake is like, oops, I was a bit of a jerk today, said some things I didn't mean, woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Even a deadly car accident can be a mistake. I mean, they often are. People aren't usually driving around trying to kill people, but intentionally using people in the creepiest of ways multiple times over the course of years, that's just not really an oopsie. I can't even go into details on the crimes here without this video getting all the YouTube flags. So please, folks, I cannot lose any more faith in humanity than I already have. Just try to have some semblance of sanity and just use your brain. I don't know, maybe read about the case before making comments like this. Now, according to court documents obtained on November 15th, Diddy's birthday celebration seemed like a sweet, innocent family moment. His 7 young ones, Quincy, Justin, Christian, Chance, Dalila, Jesse, and Love, sang happy birthday, cut a cake. But prosecutors now argue that this was all part of Diddy's carefully orchestrated campaign, that he directed his family to post the video on their Instagram accounts, hoping it would tug at people's heartstrings and influence potential jurors. Like I said, definitely worked for some people, and I gotta clarify, I do feel bad for his family. He should have been thinking about them more before he did what he did. Anyway, the video made headlines, and prosecutors are saying it was all part of a strategy, that Diddy monitored its impact, discussing with his family how to maximize its effect. Diddy's also accused of breaking more prison rules. The feds say that while in custody, he used the phones of at least 8 other inmates to make unauthorized calls, and even used an illegal third-party messaging service to reach out to multiple other people, including witnesses. As you can imagine, this is a big deal, a pretty clear violation of prison regulations. According to prosecutors, Diddy was doing everything he could to avoid being monitored by law enforcement, claiming that he set up social media campaigns designed to influence the jury pool, like we talked about just now, attempted to leak materials that could help his case, and reached out to witnesses using third-party channels. Prosecutors also allege that Diddy bribed inmates by depositing funds into their commissary accounts, helping him communicate in secret. They say he even instructed his family and legal team to use 3-way calls, a tactic that helps hide who else is involved in the conversation. This kind of behavior, prosecutors argue, shows that Combs has no intention of following the rules, even behind bars. He's facing trial in 2025 and has been pushing hard for bail, but it's kind of hard to get bail when you're constantly sneaking around messing with things before your trial has even started. And with these new allegations piling up, prosecutors are making it clear they want to keep him locked up. They've even accused him of trying to manipulate witnesses through blackmail to keep them quiet or to get them to say things that could help him in court. Now, how does one entertain themselves in jail, aside from working out and other stuff I can't talk about on YouTube? Well, these are some more basic rules and restrictions placed on Diddy while locked up, as well as what he has access to. He has no access to TV or the radio, but he does have a copy of the Bible, and that's a pretty thick book, so that should entertain him for a while. Along with that, he's also got 1 extra book a week. I don't think the Kama Sutra will be included. Last thing this guy needs is more ideas. Along with the books, he gets 300 hours of phone time per month. No, not those adult numbers that show up on TV late at night, Diddy. Call your family. And do those adult hotline ads even still exist? Have I dated myself? I think I have, because I believe I called him Puff Daddy at one point. And I think as soon as I showed up on camera, I probably dated myself for a lot of people in the audience. But here's a weird one to finish things off. Diddy can also wear a tracksuit and sneakers while locked up. Not much to say on that, really. It's just an interesting little tidbit to finish things off.
Now, a new trailer for the documentary Diddy, The Making of the Bad Boy by Peacock has been released, and the doc comes out on January 14th. Now, its main purpose is to explore the criminal allegations made against Diddy. It shows that viewers will be getting an inside look into the star from his intern, producer, friend, bodyguard, and makeup artist. Now, according to Peacock, the film will look into Diddy's early years, his decades-long transformation to Puffy and then Diddy, with crucial insight into the forces that shaped the man and may have made him a monster. Now, in the trailer, it shows many new clips that we've never seen before, like him partying, yelling at people to stop filming him, and him in the studio telling someone, "I can show you how we have fun and stay out of jail too." Right there, that seems so incriminating to me, and like he really knew what he was doing was wrong, as innocent people aren't scared of the police like that. Now, according to Peacock's official synopsis, Diddy, The Making of a Bad Boy is a raw, exclusive look at Sean Combs long before he was known as Puff or Diddy. Featuring never-before-seen footage and stories from those who know him best, Diddy, The Making of a Bad Boy sheds light on his childhood, rise to fame, and recent criminal allegations, challenging viewers to rethink everything they thought they knew about the mogul behind the music and the mugshot. Now, I think this will give us a lot of new information about the star that we previously didn't know. Diddy, though, is not a fan of this documentary, as his lawyer put out a statement that said, "These documentaries include unchecked claims and provide platforms for baseless conspiracy theories without accountability or evidence." They added, in the case of the Peacock documentary in particular, the motivations and credibility of those being interviewed must be questioned. Many claim to have knowledge but lack any connection to the truth, while their wild, unfounded theories are cut and sensationalized to appear factual.
Now, Diddy has denied everything he's been accused of so far, so it really doesn't surprise me that he's denying the things that are going to be said in this documentary. In March of 2024, Diddy's house was raided, and then that September, he was arrested for running a crime ring for decades. Now, since he's been in prison, he's been accused of many more crimes and has faced many more lawsuits. It just does not look good for him at all. I mean, his team requested bail and judges denied it 3 different times. Now, the last judge said, "I don't believe that counsel has the ability to control you, given the very significant concerns I have, particularly because of substance use and what seems like anger issues. The danger, I think, is quite serious." They added of Combs' release, deciding that the bond package his team offered would not assure his return to the court or the safety of the community or lack of witness tampering. Now, fellow rapper 50 Cent has always seen through Diddy and the type of person he is. I mean, 50 Cent has been calling out Diddy since the early 2000s and has continued to defend what he said in the past. He's been very public about not going to Diddy parties and saying how weird they were. When Diddy's house got raided in March this year, 50 Cent poked fun at the star, and after Diddy was arrested in September for various crimes, 50 Cent said he knew this all along and was happy that people were finally listening to him. "Look, it seems like I'm doing some extremely outrageous things, but I haven't," he told People in October. "It's really me just saying what I've been saying for 10 years. He added, "Now it's becoming more full-facing in the news with the puffy stuff, but away from that, I'm like, yo, it's just my perspective because I stayed away from all that stuff the entire time because this is not my style." Now, 50 Cent is actually also making a documentary about Diddy called Diddy He Do It. Now, it's been said that it will follow a complex narrative spanning decades, Sears director Alexandria Stapleton told Variety. So it seems like we're getting another documentary, so buckle up, people. Now, I'm sure that 50 will do everything he can to get the real truth out, no matter how horrible it is, which will probably piss Diddy off, if we're being honest. One thing Diddy is really worried about getting out is all the information about his freak-offs at his parties. U.S. Attorney Damian Williams claimed his office has the testimony of dozens of witnesses and victims to Diddy's serial mistreatment and evidence from dozens of his own electronic devices and those of his co-conspirators. Investigators have taken more than 90 cell phones, laptops, cloud storage accounts, as well as at least 30 storage devices. They issued more than 300 grand jury subpoenas to obtain this evidence from communication providers, tech and social media companies, financial institutions, and Combs companies. Now, prosecutors allegedly have dozens of videos depicting Diddy's so-called freak-offs that corroborate witness testimony. Now, it's alleged that the rapper would coerce and manipulate victims into taking part in day-long performances, which he dubbed freak-offs. Now, Diddy's associates would allegedly give the victims substances to keep them compliant and would make threats against anyone refusing to engage. In October, a witness who testified before the grand jury in Diddy's trial previously claimed that he had seen videos of major celebrities being victimized at the hip-hop mogul's notorious freak-off parties. Courtney Burgess testified before the grand jury about the tapes, which he says comes from a flash drive kept by Diddy's ex, Kim Porter. Courtney described some of what the footage shows, claiming all of the stars featured appeared to be under the influence of substances or alcohol. Now, he did not name any of the celebrities said to be in the videos, but he claims that the videos were taken by cameras in Diddy's homes that were not always obvious to those in the room. Now, it appears that these tapes are real, as Daniel Baldwin has claimed celebrities are in a bidding war over the alleged Diddy tapes amid fears their alleged participation in the rapper's parties will be revealed. They're driving that price up, because if you want your client and your famous actor to not be involved or famous singer to not come out, here's the price. And they're just selling to individuals that are in those. That's what I've heard. They're selling those videos, he said. Now, he theorized that a person who did appear in the videos would be fearful the footage would be released, stating the possible participant would not want the video to come out. Now, Diddy added that what differentiated a Diddy party from a typical gathering was the manner in which they ended. Does anyone ever come up to you at a certain hour and say, okay, it's time to go? At those parties, they did. At the certain time, he shut it down, but not everyone left. So anyone that wasn't super famous or I'm with him or whatever were exited from the house. You were gone. Now, this is similar to what an anonymous source told Us Weekly too. They were known to be wild. A source who attended the party shared in an issue. Anything went at those parties. Now, according to multiple sources, unsavory behavior took place at Diddy's after parties. As I said, what happened before 2 a.m. pales in comparison to what happened at 5 a.m., said the first source. Now, a second source who wrangled guests for Diddy's white parties between 2006 and 2011 similarly told Us Weekly that high-profile celebs would leave around 2 or 3 a.m. because they knew the party was going to take a turn. Girls would start to lose their clothes, and that was a signal for people to leave, explains the source. Which, just, ew, Diddy needs to be locked up for a long time for what he did. Now, not to mention, in the documentary trailer, it appears that they briefly touch on the subject of these freak-offs. One anonymous source who claimed to have been with Sean for quite a while and captured a lot of moments says anytime a studio or any room is red, he's making love. Among some other things that I really can't say here. Now, it's honestly just gross, and it seems like so many people knew what was going on, but no one stood up against it. Now, thankfully, they're speaking up now, but if someone spoke up sooner, there could have been so many victims who could have been saved. Now, currently, Diddy's trial is set for May 5th, 2025, and everyone will be paying attention to it. He'll continue to maintain his innocence, but hopefully it will be televised so people will be able to see the evil, disgusting person he truly is.
In April of 2014, Sean Combs threw a huge party bash for his friend rapper Meek Mill at a rented mansion in Las Vegas. The event was hosted at a Parisian palace that Diddy dropped $25,000 to rent for just one night. Meek Mill turned 37, and the guest list was filled with A-list celebrities including Lil Durk and French Montana. Hard to believe we'd be talking about a party that happened a decade ago, but this is Diddy, after all, and the event has now resurfaced in the news for all the wrong reasons. Video footage and claims from the property manager, who had to clean up the mess afterward, paint a picture of a wild and chaotic. According to Jason Haidt, the man in charge of the mansion, the aftermath was nothing short of disgusting. He described the condition of the mansion as awful, claiming he found broken bottles, used rubbers, and BLOOD on the beddings. Yikes. There was powder, razor blades by the hundreds, and lubricant on the dressers and marble floors. The footage obtained by Daily Mail shows a scene that's anything but a classy celebration. Guests were eating sushi off the body of a naked woman who lay sprawled on a table. The party appeared to be non-stop substance-fueled frenzy. Haidt also said that he was contacted by Meek's personal assistant, who gave him very specific demands. One of the requests was that all the bedroom doors be fitted with new locks, which were to remain unopened for security purposes upon the guest's arrival. The keys for the locks were only to be handed directly to Diddy himself, and no one else was to have access, which doesn't sound suspicious in the slightest. He'd also first been told to expect around 850 people for the bash, but then there were more like 900. Not that it really makes a difference at that point. I mean, that is an ungodly amount of people to attend a party. I mean, it is in a mansion, but with such a large crowd, though, the party was bound to get out of hand. Haidt also claimed that Diddy's team insisted on bringing their own smoke detectors. They weren't happy with the existing detectors in the mansion and said they wanted brand new ones, which they would have shipped and installed once they got there. The team assured Haidt that the detectors would be temporarily attached and then removed after the party ended. Alright, so next up, let's talk about an infamous VHS tape. A VHS tape, you say? You know, look, this was 1998, and that was how you flexed your exclusive party invites. A source recently sent a copy of this tape to Page 6 that was originally used to invite celebrities to Diddy's 29th birthday bash. A tape starts with Danny DeVito, who's casually lying on a sofa under a blanket, telling viewers, that's right, Puff Daddy is having a party, let's have a ball. Now the words come and ball so close together in the context of a Diddy party invite. Pretty ominous in context. Having a ball at a Diddy party can mean many different things. Luckily DeVito didn't mention more than one ball, or that they'd be anywhere near anyone's mouth. At least not in any of the footage of the tape that's been released to the public. Then a lineup of celebrities, including Oprah, Ellen DeGeneres, Chris Rock, and the man who slapped him, Will Smith, Mariah Carey, and Joan Rivers, take turns reading from a script. They hype up the date, the time, the ridiculously expensiveness of the party, and then leave the venue a mystery, promising that it will be revealed later. Classic Diddy, just always keeping people guessing. The video is 6 minutes long, but only a minute of it has been released, so what goes on in those other 5 minutes? who knows? Some say the celebs involved should be looked closely at, given their close ties to Diddy. After all, if the party's as wild as some people are claiming, it's hard to believe some of these A-listers were just there for the canapes. For the canapes. I looked this up, but it's a French word. It's some sort of hors d'oeuvre. Leonardo DiCaprio's name has also surfaced in connection to Diddy, particularly due to photos of him at several of Diddy's infamous parties. Diddy himself once named Leo as the #1 person on his white party invite list, which Leo was probably, a pretty cool thing to be called at the time, but now being called the #1 person on Diddy's invite list? That's like being tossed a hot potato on fire covered in spikes. Now, despite the links, a source close to DiCaprio has said that he hasn't been in contact with Diddy in years. A source also said that Leo apparently never participated in Diddy's freak-offs, adding he attended a few of his parties back in the early 2000s, but literally everyone did. They were not freak-offs, they were big house parties. Leo, who is at the start of his career at the time, has reportedly moved far beyond that world. The source continued, Leonardo DiCaprio has absolutely nothing to do with any of this. For anyone to assume he'll get roped into this based on a few grainy photos from over 20 years ago is ridiculous. And in recent years, the entire Kardashian-Jenner clan has been seen partying with him. They've posted about it on social media and discussed Diddy on their reality show. Khloe even invited him to appear as a guest on her talk show, the name of which is Cocktails with Khloe. Considering the circumstances, it's a pretty apt name. So much that's not going to get into the video here today. Recently, fans noticed that Kim Kardashian unfollowed Diddy on Instagram after the raids on his houses. Now, was this just because she was genuinely shocked and disgusted, or was she in panic mode trying to distance herself from him for, selfish reasons? Khloe still has an Instagram photo of herself, Diddy, and her sisters together with the caption, "No party like a Diddy party." And there's Kris Jenner as well, who is dating Corey Gamble. Corey is a close friend of Diddy's, and sources claim that he was aware of Diddy's controversial activities. With Diddy's legal troubles now making headlines, sources say Kris is scrambling to protect her daughters. It's all very ugly and very embarrassing, and Kris is scrambling to distance them from all of this, a source shared. Another insider said that many fans assume the family was involved in Diddy's so-called freak-offs, but they insist that they had no idea what was happening behind the scenes. Diddy had plenty of glamorous parties over the years that weren't freak-offs, the source explained, at least not until the early morning hours when the majority of people had left. Martha Stewart, known for her empire of home goods and lifestyle expertise, has been to one of Diddy's famous parties, at least one. On November 20th of 2009, she posted on her website about attending what was being dubbed as the Party of the Century, Sean Combs' 40th birthday. The event took place in the Grand Ballroom of the Plaza Hotel in New York. Martha described the night, saying, "The party was simply stunning, and I had such a fantastic time." Martha also posted pictures of herself at the event. She also included photos of Diddy arriving and one of them together, captioned, "My friend, Sean Puffy Combs Diddy." People, of course, didn't think much of these photos then. In 2017, she even had Diddy as a guest on her VH1 cooking show with Snoop Dogg, Martha and Snoop's potluck dinner party. During the show, they played a card game where one prompt asked, "When I die, I want my last words to be." Diddy responded with 3 words, "I did it." Just another thing to add to the long list of Diddy-related quotes that have not aged well. Martha Stewart, of course, is no stranger to legal troubles herself. In 2004, she was convicted of charges including conspiracy and obstruction of justice in a case related to the sale of stock in ImClone Systems, a biopharmaceutical company. She was sentenced to 5 months in prison, 2 years of probation, and a $195,000 fine. But as of now, she has not been officially linked to any of Diddy's criminal activities. Still, people are wondering, considering how close she appeared to be with him in public. Diddy, for his part, had never been convicted of a serious crime before 2023, though he had long faced accusations of violence and mistreatment of women. That changed when his ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura filed a lawsuit accusing him of mistreating her during their 10-year relationship. Diddy's attorney denied the allegations, calling them outrageous and accusing Cassie of trying to extort him. The case was settled quickly, but the damage was done. In May of 2024, security footage surfaced showing an incident between Diddy and Cassie that matched her claims, and Diddy was forced to issue an apology. Many saw it as insecure, given that it came out only after he was caught. Diddy's troubles didn't stop there. After Casey's lawsuit, more individuals began to come forward accusing him of similar mistreatment. By the fall of 2024, it was revealed that Diddy had been running a crime ring out of his parties, and the FBI raided his homes. Investigators uncovered that his infamous after-parties had been a front for illegal activities, with dozens of victims. By October, more than 120 people had accused him of various crimes, and Diddy was arrested in September of 2024. The accusations surrounding Diddy's parties have led to many questioning the role of celebrities like the ones I've just discussed who came to these events. Other sources have described Diddy's parties as wild, with some guests leaving early to avoid the, quote, turn that the party would take. So my point is, did Martha Stewart leave early, or did she stick around?
First off though, who are the Baldwin brothers? Yeah, it's Alec Baldwin's family. I know, I'm literally as shocked as you. What business do they have here? But let me explain. So literally all the Baldwin brothers are in the entertainment industry. They're all actors. Alec is the most famous, but between the four of them, there are some pretty big name movies on the roster. So that is why we are hearing about this from them and why they would even have information like this or even be at the parties. But if you had given me 3 guesses as to who the next celebrity speaking out about Diddy was, Daniel Baldwin probably would not even be in the top 100. I didn't even know Alec Baldwin had a brother, and there's 4 of them. Who'd have thunk? The brother that made the shocking bidding war claim though, it was Daniel Baldwin. He was on the PDB podcast where they happened upon this topic while discussing the desensitization of media. He shared that he did meet Diddy, and while the man was put together and nice to him, he recognized that there can always be more to the story. Daniel shared that he heard the rumor about the tapes being bid on from attorney friends of his, people who have represented him before, and his agents. He also shared some additional details about how the Diddy parties were run that were interesting to say the least. Daniel said that he heard Diddy does have video footage of the parties. Actually, allegedly, some of it has already been used in a legal sense. However, it's unlikely the public is ever going to get their hands on it because the famous faces featured probably don't want anyone to know they were there. And how are they going to make sure that the tapes don't fall into the hands of someone that would bring them to light? Money, and lots of it. According to Daniel, the tapes are like the most valuable thing in Hollywood right now. The price keeps going up because one person might want to buy it so people don't know what they engaged in, but then someone else might want to try and buy it to expose everything. If this is actually true, I don't even want to know how much money this is. There's also the question of just how much footage there is. Diddy hosted a lot of parties, like a lot of them. We already learned from previous court documents and sources that he would often film the explicit ones, but are there tapes of the parties that were just regular Hollywood bashes too? There might be, if Daniel's comments are anything to go off of. The actor said that Diddy supposedly had cameras all over the place, unbeknownst to the people in the videos. So if you watch the clip of the podcast, you'll also hear him talking about like the stages of a Diddy party evening. There were sometimes parties within parties, so like the normal party would happen and that would be attended by hundreds of people, but then when the clock would strike in a certain hour, Diddy or representatives from him would apparently shut everything down and ask everyone to leave except for a select group of around 30 to 40 people. Daniel said anyone that wasn't super famous or I'm with him or whatever were exited from the house, well, you were gone. This is really interesting to hear his alleged first-hand account because it actually conflicts with some previous reports of the way these parties went down. Some news publications have reported in the past that by the time we get to a state where the untoward events are happening, the big names would have already left the party, like in the case of Diddy's 2005 VMAs after party. It was attended by big names like Paris Hilton, Eva Longoria, Mariah Carey, and more. According to the US Sun, in the early morning after the party switched from a nightclub to Diddy's mansion, the famous names had already left, and the party had turned into a Diddy freak-off. Alleged footage from the later half of that party shows Diddy wearing the same outfit he had been wearing in the VMA's party pics, which shows how those two events were tied together. Previously to this Baldwin confession, people would say that just because celebrity A was at the first party doesn't mean they were at the later activities, but now, according to his confession, that might not be completely true. Daniel's story is making it sound like the last people at these parties would be the big names, and everyone else was asked to leave. Of course, how many famous names exist in Hollywood? There is is still a high chance that many celebrities never engaged in the freak-offs and did just have a good time on the dance floor. Daniel Baldwin's comments about how people would go around the party at a certain hour and kick anyone out not famous enough does also back up the theory and allegation that Diddy's freak-offs were often carefully planned out events. Allegedly, the victims of the freak-offs were primarily unwilling participants, often given substances that would cloud their judgment just to get them in the room and keep them there. Freak-offs have been reported to have happened in Diddy's home or other properties, and some accounts recall hotel rooms being rented on occasion. The reported length of these parties ranged, but some sources claim that they could last days. And allegedly, by the end of those extra long, horrible experiences, sometimes the victims would require IV fluids to recover. Short form, these alleged situations sound awful and taxing, and it's clear that while sources say everything was carefully planned out, little thought was given to the well-being of the actual victims. Why Diddy would film all of this can be chalked up to a few reasons. Maybe he would view them after, or maybe he wanted the assurance that no one would say anything. Hard to publicly condemn someone and keep your status if you're sat next to the accused in video footage. For the victims of the events, they were often, not always, but many of those with cases open against Diddy aren't that powerful in Hollywood. Whether they are small-scale celebrities or just a regular person at the wrong place at the wrong time, just the idea of trying to take down someone with more public favor, money, and access to assistance than you is enough to keep your mouth shut. Participants were also allegedly blackmailed so they would keep quiet after, or even to just get them in the room. Some people claim to have been warned that if they said anything, something bad would happen to them or their loved ones. The participants were allegedly forced to intimately engage with each other, or if there were big names there, to service them. People want to know who were the celebrities that took part in the parties. Did they help put them on? Who was in that group that Daniel Baldwin claimed was left behind after the party was shut down? Every famous person that has ever breathed next to Diddy is currently under a social media investigation. Daniel further went on speaking on the business aspects of wanting to keep the tapes hidden. If a celebrity is pictured in one of these videos, depending on who it is, there can be a lot riding on that. He used the example of LeBron James because of that one video that has recently resurfaced in which LeBron said, "There's no party like a Diddy party." As the YouTube comment section said, this quote aged like milk. But using Daniel's example, if LeBron was shown in an explicit video, he's not the only one affected. He has a bunch of brand deals and owns companies, he has people that work for him. Him being on a tape would cause all that to come crashing down. Not that he was actually in any of the videos, obviously I'm not saying that for certain. Like Daniel Baldwin also said about his claims, I don't like to say things that I know unless I see it, but this is a good example of why people might be willing to pay so much for the tapes. Sure, maybe the price is high right now, but losing $20 million now to keep your name in the dark versus losing everything when your name comes out, the choice suddenly looks like a no-brainer. I mean, there was a really easy thing though that everyone could have done from the start that would make sure nothing like this happened, and that was to not engage with someone without consent in the first place. But tens of millions, that's a lot of money, and Diddy is in jail right now, so who would even get the cash if it's being exchanged? About this, Daniel said, "I don't buy for a minute that he's going to prison without getting out of here somewhere and stashing $2 billion or whatever. I think he has that kind of power." So he's implying that if this bidding war is happening, either Diddy or someone very close to him is just like tucking it away. Is it because he's confident he'll walk free? Is it because he believes he won't walk free and the cash will take care of his family while he's behind bars? Maybe it's to pay for legal fees and lawsuits, literally, who knows? The podcast host did ask Baldwin if what was happening during the restricted sections of Diddy parties was under lock and key too, or if the stories were shared throughout Hollywood. Baldwin confirmed that he did hear things from attendees, and this isn't really new information. Many people have shared that the events of a Diddy freak-off were Hollywood's worst kept secret at times. Baldwin also shared though that the unique thing to Diddy bashes is that at a certain hour, someone would allegedly go around literally kicking out anyone not famous enough, and then the doors getting locked with only 30 to 40 extra famous people left over. Yeah, that would get people talking. What an odd situation. Of course there'd be chatter and gossip and rumors. But like Daniel Baldwin said, it's going to be interesting to see what happens from here.